So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to do the TPI movement assessment if we're doing this online. It's easier if you get the right angles and you can take your time to do it at home and then send me the videos. Otherwise, if we're meeting at the range or something, we'll do this on our own, right? But if you're sending me the videos, this is going to walk you through the angles that we need, the camera height, and how to do the actual movements that we're testing and make sure you're not cheating your way through different movements so we make sure we're getting the right information. Use a tripod or have someone help you in landscape view, get these movements recorded. Do your best to get the right angles that I'm going to talk about here today, and a steady camera if you can. So I have my golfer here. First test we're going to do is called the posterior pelvic tilt test. So what we're going to work through here is our 5-iron posture. What I'll have you guys do at home is imagine you're holding a 5-iron. Get into whatever posture that feels like for you, and then we're going to cross our arms like this. So Nick, get in 5-iron posture. Feels like you're holding a 5-iron there. Next, I want you to cross your arms. And then for this first test, it looks a little funny, but what we need to make sure you're able to do is tilt your pelvis forward as if your belt line is a bucket of water. I want you to tip that water forward, and then I want you to pull that bucket back, okay? So go ahead and try and give me a couple of rotations there, and I'm just going to assess and see what that looks like, okay? We see Nick has a little shaking when he does it. That's okay. I want to see that in the recording. Okay. This is a qualitative test, so I just want to know, can you do it? And I'll be able to look at it and assess it from there. Good. For the pelvic rotation test, I want you facing the camera for this one. I'll have you get in your 5-iron posture again for me. Now from here, I want to know if you can rotate the pelvis side to side without your upper body coming with you. So go ahead and try to rotate at the pelvis, making sure we're not losing height by dropping through our knees. 5-iron posture, rotating through here. And if it's difficult, that's okay. Don't cheat the test. A qualitative test again, so I'm just looking to see if you can do it. And I prefer this face-on view for this. Good. Now, what I actually do at home is if you're struggling with that, I want you to either grab something stable or have someone stabilize your shoulders. So again, 5-iron posture here. Now, I want to see if I stabilize or if you were to grab something and stabilize, if that gets a whole bunch easier. And qualitative, it looks a little bit better here. Again, that's important information for me to see. Very similar test. We're going to be in 5-iron posture. The camera's going to be face on about hip height. So once you get down in your 5-iron posture here, once you find that, we're going to rotate just like we did before, but now we're doing it just at the shoulders here, okay? So just at the torso, rotating through here. I don't want your hips coming along with you. I want to know if you try to rotate through here that we can dissociate our upper body from our pelvis. Give that a shot. Good. And then from the video, I'll be watching, see what's happening here at the hips. One more cue is I want you to keep your head straight down. So try that again. Good. And again, if you have someone helping you, they can stabilize at the pelvis here. If not, that's okay, but I want to see if that qualitatively gets easier or better. Okay, for the 90-90 test, assessing shoulder range of motion, want elbows at perfectly at shoulder height. Don't cheat the test by dipping your elbow forward or backwards, up or down. Try to keep that perfectly in line, and I want to see how much rotation you can bring this palm back towards your head like this, okay? So Nick, will you start that? Elbow is going to move there. Let's do your right arm first. Good. Back down. Now I want you to get in your 5-iron posture, and then we're going to try that same thing from this angle here. Good. And the camera itself is at shoulder height too. This gives me the best view for that. Let's flip. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. Good. Doing his best not to cheat the test. Getting good information. Perfect. Okay, the toe touch test. I want the camera about hip height, facing 90 degrees from the camera. Feet together. I want you to keep your knees straight, bend over, touch your toes if you can, just get as low as you can. Feet together, knees are straight, bending at the waist. Good, and then come back up. The single leg hip bridge, what we're gonna do is lay on your back. I want the camera low to the ground here. Again, it's a side angle. What I have you do is with both legs, bridge up. And what I want to see is that the tibia is coming straight up vertical to the ground when we're in our bridge position. So I'll just let you at home check that by bridging up a couple times. Trying to get these shin angles to be perfectly vertical. That looks pretty good to me. So you can come back down and relax. So for this drill, we're gonna have you bridge up, and then we're gonna lift one leg off the ground, keeping both thighs parallel, right? So what that looks like is, Nick, if you bridge, I want you to extend your left leg. And what you'll see is that both thighs stay parallel. He's not bringing this leg up or letting it go way down towards the ground like that, right? So relax for a second. What we'll do is both sides. I want you to be able to hold this for 10 seconds. If you start to cramp in the hamstrings or the low back, if you could just let me know through the camera, that'd be great. Okay? So what I have you do is bridge up. If you have a partner or someone helping you, you can go ahead and bridge up. Is we're gonna put a dowel, broom, or a golf club across your hips. I wanna know, this is gonna help tell me if one of those hips starts to dive, okay? So Nick, one leg straight. And now we'll start the timer. We'll try to go for 10 seconds. I'm watching in the camera. You can relax there. So Nick started to cramp. Is it the hamstring? Good. So if you cramp, you just let me know. Let's try the same thing on the other side. That was a quick cramp. Bridging up. Good. I want to get those hips a little higher towards the ceiling there. Good. And so in the video, just making sure everything's in line. We're trying to hold this for 10 seconds. He's working hard. The dowel was telling me that one hip's starting to dip. So it's all really good, important information to know. Okay, for the lat test, what we want is the camera coming from the side angle here, kind of flush to the wall. You're gonna have your knees at an angle that you can easily get your low back flat against the wall. And I can test here, I can't get my hand past this low back. We don't want that arch in the low back for this test. Another way that we can make sure that throughout the test you're not cheating by arching that low back is we can put a club here. If you arch it back for me, we can put a club through there, and then I want you to squeeze that club against the wall. If this club, so we'll find the angle there. If this club now falls, we know that he had to cheat to gain that range of motion. That club will fall to the ground, okay? So from here, the test is arms straight out in front of you, thumbs pointing towards the wall. I want you to raise your arms towards the ceiling, trying to get your thumbs to touch the wall. Good. And this will be the angle that's perfect to tell me how far you can get. If you do feel your low back starting to come off the wall a little bit there, you can relax there. Where you're starting to arch, stop the test there. If you have any pain in the shoulders, stop the test there, okay? Wherever that is, I'll be able to measure that angle. Okay, our reach, roll, and lift test is an alternative to the lat test or the wall overhead mobility test. If you can't get the right camera angle or you don't have enough space on a wall to do it, this is a good alternative for it. So what I'm gonna have you do is sit back on your heels. Your knees are gonna be together. From here, we're gonna arch down and place our forehead on our fist. So Nick, if you can show me that. Trying to keep our weight back as far as we can. He's got his forehead on his fist. That's going to stay there. His right arm, which is free here, is going to reach as far as he can. He's going to reach, reach, reach. Then from here, he's going to roll to palm facing the ceiling. Still reaching through that arm as far as he can, pulling the shoulder blade as far towards his arm as he can. And then from here, he's going to try to lift that palm towards the ceiling. Okay? We see a little elbow bend. These are all things I want to see. If you can keep your arm as straight as you can, palm perfectly towards the ceiling, and see if you can raise from there. Good, relax. Let's try the same thing on the other arm. So he's gonna switch. And I'd like you guys to tell me whatever you're feeling when you're doing this test. If it feels like you can't supinate or go palm towards the ceiling all the way, whatever qualitative feelings you get through this test, you just let me know. And he's reaching and trying to lift that hand off the ground at the same time, keeping his forehead in his fist and his weight back on his heels. Good, relax there. Okay, for the overhead deep squat test, you can grab a club or a broom. And what we want to do is find the position in our hands where our elbows make a 90-degree angle like this, so we don't want them too close or too far away. wherever we get that 90-degree angle. From there, we're gonna come straight up overhead. What we're gonna do with this test is I want the camera around hip height. Should be able to see the feet to the head. And once we get our elbow angles, we're gonna come straight up overhead with the club. So all the way up, good. And then from here, I want you to squat straight down, keeping your heels on the floor. So however far you can get there. Then what I want you to do is flip 90 degrees, and I want to see the same thing from the side. Good. And then we'll ditch the club, and we're going to do that same thing. We're going to face the camera, hands loosely locked behind our neck here. I just want to see, again, shoulder width apart, squat from that position. Very good. And then another 90-degree flip. We'll do it one more time. Good. Okay, good. So starting with our ankle and knee at 90 degrees, what we're going to do is I'll let you put one fist length from your big toe there. Once we get that distance, you can use your club or a broom, whatever you're using. With your other hand, I want you to hold that at the end of where your fingers were. You can bring your hand back up, and then keeping our knee straight, don't let it come open to the side or towards the midline. I want you to keep it straight. I want to see, keeping your ankle on the ground there, your heel on the ground, can you get this knee to touch our marker here? So he's just shifting his weight forward, bending here through the ankle, keeping his heel on the ground, and seeing if he can touch this, okay? And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, for the single leg balance, what I want you to do, pick a leg, camera should be face on about hip height. We're gonna bring our opposite leg to 90 degrees. From here, we'll close our eyes. I want you to be able to hold that for 16 seconds. Arms should stay down by your sides. If you have to do anything to correct yourself, that's okay. We'll catch that in the recording. So Nick, pick a leg, we're gonna bring our other hip towards 90 degrees. From here, we'll close our eyes, and then we're gonna try and wait for 16 seconds. Okay. You want us to try again. You can have a practice round where for 2 seconds, maybe we'll close our eyes, we'll see, okay, that's what it feels like to close our eyes, and then you kind of expect what's coming. So go ahead and give it your second round here. Okay, we'll call that 16. All right, Nick, go ahead and try your other foot. All good there. For the upper quarter rotation test, you need a chair or a box. Anything with a 90-degree angle will be really helpful. Otherwise, you can cross two clubs and sit directly in the center of those clubs. But if we do have a chair that we can get on the corner of, so what I want you to do is sit right towards the corner. First, we'll rotate towards our left. So we'll take our left foot, cross it on top of our right foot, and try to keep our knees tight together like this, okay? We're gonna put a club over our back, and from here, the camera angle is about shoulder height, but it's going right down the plane of this box as we rotate towards the left here. What I'm looking for to see is if your sternum breaks the plane of this camera angle shooting down the line here. So Nick, we'll have you try that. So Nick's gonna be rotating towards his left. He's sitting right on the corner of the box here. His left foot went over his right foot, and he's gonna try to keep these knees together there. He's got a club or a broom over his back. He's not going to crank on this club or try to get rotation through that. He's just gonna rest his palms on it, and then he's gonna rotate as far as he can towards his left. And this is a perfect view for me to see if he can break the plane with the sternum there. Good. He's gonna rotate as far as he can towards his right. For the lower quarter rotation test, if we have a 6-iron, what we're going to do is use the lie angle of the 6-iron, like this here, to help me gauge your rotation measurements. So if we take this angle, we'll lie the 6-iron down, and then we have another club or a broom that we're using to get that angle. Now, if you stand perpendicular to that 6 iron, what we're going to do is raise 1 foot, doesn't matter which one to start, and we're going to put all our weight in the ground foot. From here, we're just going to rotate towards, in this case, our left, staying tall through our hip here, okay? No bend in the knee. We're not rotating through like this. I want to see if we stay as tall as we can, how far we rotate, and then we're going to do the same thing with our opposite foot, staying tall, rotating in that same direction. What we'll do after that is we just flip from here, and again, we're using the lie angle of the 6 iron, which is about 60 degrees, to help me gauge how far you're able to rotate. So again, we'll raise 1 foot, and from here, we're going to rotate as far as we can there, staying tall in that ground foot, doing that same thing here. So Nick, we'll have you try that. First, we're going to rotate towards our right. So he's perpendicular to the 6 iron here. He's raised 1 foot up. All his weight is in this ground leg. He's going to stay as tall as he can through there. And then he's going to rotate towards his right. Never shifting any weight onto that up heel. Good. And then let's switch foot. Staying tall as he can. Rotating through. Keeping his foot completely flat on the ground there. Great. Now what we do there is we switch back. I now have my angle markers, and from the video, it's about hip height, face on. I can see how far you can rotate towards in your lower quarter here. Great. So the camera is going to be towards our side here. What we're going to do is measure our wrist flexion and extension, and then we're going to measure our wrist hinge. So we'll start with our palm facing the ground. We make a fist, and from here, I want to see how far you can flex down and flex up. It's important to keep our elbows to our sides here, up and down, and I want to see that same thing through here like that. So Nick, go ahead. Good. And then into extension. Great. And then you can flip. Let's see the same thing on the left wrist. Okay, for the wrist hinge test, we're going to go palms towards the ceiling, cameras towards our side. And then what we'll do is make a fist from that position. And I want you to go pinky towards your wrist. So we're hinging our wrist down like this. Go ahead, Nick. Hold that for a second. And then I want to do the opposite. We're going thumb back up towards our wrist. Good there. Now for the wrist rotation test, we're going to have the camera be face on. We're going to tuck our elbows into our side. We'll start palms down, and then we'll twist to palms up. And we'll do the same thing, twisting as far as we can, palms down, palms up. Good. Okay, for this cervical rotation test, I want the camera on a side view, about shoulder height. And from here, with our feet together, we're going to rotate just at the neck as far as we can. And then we're going to tuck our chin and see if we can get our chin to touch our collarbone here. So we'll have Nick start. Feet are together. He's going to rotate as far as he can towards his right. And then he'll see if he can tuck that chin down to his collarbone. Okay. And we'll see any compensation where the shoulder might raise to get there. And then we'll flip, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Feet are together. Rotating just at the neck. And then from here, seeing if you can tuck that chin to get his collarbone.